The roar of the massive Caterpillar 797F shook the dusty construction yard, but to Jackson Harper, it was more than a machine, it was a challenge, a lifeline, and the only chance to rewrite his son's future. Sweat dripped down his brow, mixing with the grime on his calloused hands, as he stared at the inert behemoth before him. The tires were the size of small houses, the cab looked like a fortress, and the sheer scale of the task was enough to make most men turn away. But Jackson was not most men. He was a single father in Houston, struggling to keep his 10-year-old son, Ethan, fed and hopeful, and when a mysterious wealthy contractor had driven into the yard and barked, "If you can fix this Caterpillar 797F, I'll pay you $100,000, something inside him had shifted. This was no ordinary payday, it was a chance at redemption, a chance to prove to himself and his son that they could rise above their struggles. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in hard work, second chances, and miracles for those who never give up, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that courage can appear in the most unlikely places. Jackson's life had never been easy. After the death of his wife 5 years ago, he had taken on every odd job he could find, plumbing, welding, small construction, but the bills were relentless, the rent was unforgiving, and Ethan deserved more than what Jackson could scrape together. The Caterpillar 797F was the largest piece of equipment he had ever laid eyes on, and the contractor who promised the $100,000 had left him alone with it for the weekend, smirking like it was impossible. Jackson's first instinct was doubt. He had fixed pickup trucks, old bulldozers, and rusted farm equipment, but this was a monster. Its diesel engine was silent now, yet it seemed to mock him with its dormant power. Jackson approached the vehicle cautiously, studying the hydraulics, the engine housing, the tangled network of pipes and wires. Hours passed as he traced every line, wiped oil from his hands, and consulted worn manuals he had borrowed from the local library. The sun rose and fell, casting shifting shadows over the yard, highlighting the massive scale of the machine, and his own tiny stature beside it. He thought about Ethan sleeping in a cramped apartment that night, about the little boy's laughter, the soft hum of hope in his eyes. Fixing this machine wasn't just about money, it was about proving that a father could keep his promises even when the odds were stacked impossibly against him. By late evening, Jackson had managed to identify the root cause, a corroded fuel injector line and a hydraulic pump that had seized from neglect. It was painstaking work. He scavenged parts from old machinery, used improvised tools, and even enlisted the advice of a retired heavy equipment mechanic named Sam, who lived nearby. Sam had watched Jackson struggle for hours and offered quiet guidance, teaching him how to rig a temporary solution and test the hydraulic system safely. Every adjustment, every careful movement, felt like a lifeline being thrown across a chasm. When the engine roared back to life late that night, the sound was deafening and euphoric, echoing off the concrete barriers and steel structures. Jackson's heart pounded, not just from the triumph, but from the knowledge that he had done the impossible. The contractor returned at dawn, skeptical, his arms crossed as he walked up to the revived Caterpillar. He circled the machine, inspecting Jackson's work, his eyes narrowing, but the undeniable proof of functionality left him silent for several heart-stopping moments. Jackson, exhausted but resolute, stood beside the cab, grime-streaked and proud, feeling Ethan's eyes on him from the rearview mirror of the pickup truck where the boy had waited all night. The contractor finally spoke, handing over a check that seemed almost unreal in its thickness. The $100,000 was not just money, it was the embodiment of faith rewarded, of perseverance recognized, of a father's love for his son made tangible. Jackson and Ethan drove home through the quiet streets of Houston, the rising sun painting the sky with soft pink and lavender streaks. For the first time in years, Jackson felt a surge of possibility, a sense that life could bend in favor of those who refused to quit. He thought of all the nights they had spent in worry, the meals skipped, the jobs taken just to make ends meet, and he realized that courage and tenacity were worth far more than any comfort or convenience. And as Ethan leaned his head against his father's shoulder, whispering in sleepy awe about the giant machine they fixed, Jackson felt a deep, unshakable pride, knowing that this moment would become a memory of hope that would never fade. If this story moved your heart and reminded you of the power of perseverance and a parent's love, please like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps these inspiring stories reach more people and gives hope to those who need it most. Before you leave, take a moment to comment below. If you were in Jackson's shoes, what challenge would you tackle for someone you love? Jackson Harper, the single dad who faced a mechanical giant and conquered it with nothing but grit, love, and determination, showed the world that true strength is measured not in size or wealth, but in heart, courage, and the refusal to give up, even when everything seems impossible. That $100,000 wasn't just a reward, it was proof that love, skill, and determination can turn even the most impossible challenge into triumph.